Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a king named Midas. King Midas was incredibly wealthy, but he was never satisfied. His mind was always consumed with the desire for more and more gold. One day, driven by his insatiable greed, he made a wish that everything he touched would turn to gold. Unknown to him, a mystical being overheard his wish and decided to grant it, intrigued by what would follow. Awakening the next morning, King Midas was thrilled to find that his wish had come true. He touched the chair, and it immediately transformed into shimmering gold. Ecstatic, he dashed through his palace, touching walls, vases, and tables, all turning to gold at his touch. His glee knew no bounds. However, his joy was short-lived. Overcome with hunger, King Midas reached for some bread. The moment he touched it, it became a solid, inedible piece of gold. Panic set in as he realized the implications of his wish. Even the finest wines and fruits crumbled into metallic lumps. Desperate and hungry, his eyes filled with tears as he realized the full depth of his misfortune. Just then, his daughter, who loved him deeply, ran into the room to comfort him. In a moment of forgetfulness, Midas reached out to embrace her. To his horror, she too turned into a lifeless statue of gold. Despair filled the king's heart. His desire for wealth had cost him everything he truly loved. Kneeling before the mystical being who had granted his wish, he pleaded for mercy, ready to give up all his riches just to embrace his daughter once more. The mystical being, moved by Midas's genuine remorse, reversed the curse, teaching him a valuable lesson about the dangers of greed and the true value of love and happiness. From that day on, King Midas cherished his family and friends more than any treasure. And so, the once greedy king became known for his wisdom and generosity. The moral of the story reminds us that true happiness and wealth cannot be measured by material possessions, but by the love and connections we share with others. Once upon a time, in a lush jungle where the sunbeams filtered through the towering trees, there lived a mighty lion. He was the king of the jungle, fierce and proud, with a golden mane that shimmered in the light. One afternoon, after a hearty meal, the lion decided to take a nap under the shade of a large banyan tree. As the lion snored gently, a tiny mouse scurried through the undergrowth, full of energy and curiosity. Before long, its tiny feet let it right onto the lion's nose, causing him to wake with a start. With a roar that echoed throughout the jungle, the lion caught the mouse under his great paw. "How dare you disturb the king of the jungle?" he growled, baring his sharp teeth. The mouse trembled with fear, but quickly gathered its wits to speak, pleading for forgiveness and promising to help the lion one day. The lion laughed, a deep, hearty laugh that made the trees tremble. Amused by the pluckiness of the little mouse, the lion decided to let it go free, doubting it could ever help him. Days passed, and the incident was almost forgotten by the lion, until one fateful day when he found himself caught in a hunter's net. Despite his strength, the lion could not break free of the trap. Helpless, the lion roared one last time, hoping for an unlikely savior, and the sound carried through the jungle. The mouse, upon hearing the distressed roar, remembered its promise and raced towards the sound. The mouse found the lion struggling in the net and quickly began gnawing at the ropes with its sharp little teeth. The lion watched in disbelief as the mouse chewed through the ropes that bound him. After an arduous effort, the net gave way, and the lion was free. The lion looked down at the mouse with gratitude, acknowledging the mouse's help and realizing the value of even the smallest creatures. From that day on, the lion and the mouse became the best of friends. The mouse had taught the lion an invaluable lesson, that everyone has their own unique value, and that size does not determine worth or ability. This timeless moral reminds us all that kindness and promises have no measure. The smallest deeds often leave the biggest impact.
Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the lush green valleys, there lived an old woman who was known for her beautiful garden. Her flowers blossomed in breathtaking colors, and their fragrance could be smelled from miles away. Each day, she would carry water from the river to her garden using two large pots hung on either end of a pole. One pot was perfectly formed, while the other had a crack on its side. Every day, as the woman walked the long path from the river to her house, the cracked pot would leak water, arriving only half full, while the other pot remained brimming. The flawless pot took pride in its ability to deliver a full load of water, while the cracked pot felt ashamed and disheartened of its flaw, even believing it was a failure. One sunny morning, the cracked pot, feeling heavy with sadness, spoke to the old woman while she filled the pots. "I apologize, dear lady. I am ashamed of my flaw. I waste half the water you carry because of this crack." The old woman, wise and kind, smiled warmly and said, "Have you noticed the flowers on your side of the path, dear pot? I have always known about your crack, and I planted seeds along your path. Thanks to your flaw, these seeds have been watered every day, gifting this path with beautiful flowers. Without you, these wonderful blooms wouldn't exist." The cracked pot was taken aback. For once, its flaw wasn't seen as a shortcoming. Instead, it realized that the flaw had a purpose and was its greatest strength. From that day forward, the cracked pot felt a renewed sense of purpose and embraced its uniqueness with joy. And so, the old woman's garden flourished in even more colors, each bloom a testament to how flaws could carry hidden potential, turning imperfection into one's truest strength. The story gently teaches that our flaws, often looked upon as weaknesses, can be turned into strengths when seen from a different perspective where they serve a unique purpose. The moral of the story is clear. Your flaws can be your greatest strength, nurturing beauty where none could be seen before.